If you're someone who doesn't really believe in themselves and you walk into a room and you're kind of hunched over, realistically, you could have all the experience in the world for a job. You're not going to get it against someone who might have half of the experience but can walk into that room with their head held high, shoulders back, ready to nail it, with that attitude that they've got that job. There's a real thing around like that lack of self-belief and confidence. You can have all the skill, but if you don't know what to do with that skill or how to showcase it, there's only so much you can do.
What keeps you up at night?
What if it all just goes? If I wake up and suddenly like I don't have what I've built, women don't want to work with us. Less and less now than it did, but it still does. We sometimes forget actually the life that you're like living right now is a life that you one point like dreamt of, imagined, visualized, but because we get so caught up in like what's the next thing, we forget that we're living it right now. And I do that all the time and I'm like, whoa, stop for a minute, stop it, be present, be in this moment right now. Don't try and put yourself in like a box that you feel like you need to be in, or because society tells you. Just because you're a mum doesn't mean you can't grow your career or start a business. Just because you've got a vibrant career doesn't mean you can't become a mum.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Raw Talk podcast. Today we have a very funny, sexy and cool individual on the podcast, Miss Anna Stefaniuk. Or do you want me to introduce you as a different surname? You have about 17. No,
I've got... well, two.
Two,
still,
okay.
Technically, passport one, and then one I have been known for the past 32 years. So we'll go with Anna Stefaniuk. It's cooler.
Okay, we'll go with that. So I'll tell you what then. Who is? Let's kick it off. We'll go straight for the gullet. Who is Anna?
Who is Anna? Oh God, I'm just a normal gal. I'm just a normal gal on a mission. Just running my business, growing my business, empowering women. I hate this question.
Yeah.
Because I never know what to say. Like, who is Anna? And to be honest, I only probably figured this out only a few years ago.
Yeah.
So, who is Anna? I'm just a normal female wanting to just wake up every day, feel content, feel happy, and not waste a single second of life.
Love it. So basically, who you are is the epitome of funny, sexy and cool.
I am
or
funny,
at least
sexy,
trying to
cool.
be.
No, I am funny and sexy cool.
Okay, we'll take that.
Yeah.
We're going to print that on some t-shirts.
I think we need some t-shirts.
We do need some t-shirts.
I think so.
Okay, so you know what? Let's reverse back. So you said that you figured that out 2 years ago. How did you figure that out? Was there like a defining moment where you're like, you know what? Actually, I feel like I'm getting a bit more sense of self here. I'm understanding myself a little bit more.
I don't think I actually had much self-awareness until I turned 30, which, yeah, like I said, it was about 2 years ago. And I think I started to realise like what I wanted, who I wanted to be around, what I wanted to do, what I didn't want to do, what served me, what didn't serve me. And like the last 2-3 years, it's been very much about like eliminating anything that doesn't and then just elevating everything that does.
Yeah.
That's where I've been at. And I think it's the happiest I've been, it's the most content I've been, it's the calmest I've been. Prior to that, I would say just plodding. Plodding, kind of like settling, taking in whatever. Like, there was no real like big moments. Whereas I turned 30 and I thought, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I want to do everything. I want to say yes to things. I want to, like I said, wake up and just be like, right, let's get shit done.
Yeah.
And since then, it's just been like a roller coaster, but it's been epic.
No, I love that.
Absolutely epic.
And you know what? Of everyone I know, obviously, how long have we known each other now? Probably about 1.5 years?
Yes, probably, about 18, 19 months, I think.
Of everyone I know, I'd say that you're up there with the most enthusiastic. Like, you've
I?
got like a zest for life. You say yes to a lot of stuff, which I fucking love.
Yeah.
Literally today, do you want to do a podcast? Yeah, go on. And when? 2 hours? Yeah, sweet, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. And I think that, you know, ultimately it takes a certain type of coach and a certain type of business owners to get to a place whereby you are able to operate your day and operate your week like that. Because obviously knowing your business how I do and you know mine, because obviously I've coached you, you really, really, really have built an amazing brand. And obviously now that you're kind of like expanding the team and growing further, it's quality to see. So for anyone listening to this who doesn't kind of know yourself and your brand, like, what is it that you do?
So I run a coaching program called Thrive, which we have just massively evolved. When I created the brand, I didn't realise where it would go. I didn't. I just kind of like went with it and thought, let's see what happens. But what's happened over the last few years has just been a bit crazy, to be honest, because we have got one of the best like communities, like the best supportive female community there is ever. And I stand by it. And like as soon as anyone that joins us, they become part of a family. And it's just been growing and growing. And we're very much like, how do we get women to win every day? Because if one of us wins, everybody wins in the team. And I've got a real passion for helping women, like, not settle and not be like, well, actually, this is probably just it for me, so that's fine. I'm a bit happy. No, like, why do you want to be good when you can be great? And that's what I love doing, and that's why we do a lot around careers, and why I think because I come from a corporate space myself, and I know how vicious that I guess environment can be, how fickle that environment can be, and how important it is to hold your own in an environment like that. I want to make sure that women have that. They have that confidence, that resilience to stand their ground in an environment like that. And yeah, we've just had just some crazy successes. Like, our clients are just nailing life. Yeah. They're getting promotions, new jobs, starting businesses, all things that they wouldn't have got, like, wouldn't even thought they'd be able to do, because they've always been holding themselves back. There's always been some kind of limiting belief. Maybe they were told they were not good enough. Maybe they feel like they don't fit in because they don't look a certain way, right? There's like a real mold within that corporate space. You want to be that powerful woman in a suit. So unless you feel like you can wear a suit like that, you suddenly don't fit in. And I think everyone fits in. They just need to know that within, and that's where it's at. So I'm like, right, let's bring more women to the boardroom. Like, I'm sick of seeing white middle-aged men in boardrooms. Like, the amount of times I've been interviewed by them, like, where are the females? Where are those females, female leaders? Where are they?
Yeah. I love that, because you're representing a movement of something that you truly believe in. And like, you know, it's funny actually, I talk to a lot of people on these podcasts who it seems to be that there's like a defining moment or a defining age or a defining thing, like, you know, obviously turning 30 and kind of realizing, like, right, there's more that can be had there. There's more that can be done. And I think that ultimately, the reason that me and yourself align so much, like, with our values and the way that we run our businesses, is the whole sense of, right, we're a family. When we win, we all win, and we can lift each other up. So what does kind of Thrive, what was it that made you kind of sit down and be like, you know what, I think that there's more here. I feel like we can do better. Like, what was the defining moment for you to kind of recognize that?
I think when I started off, obviously, like a lot of coaches do start off, you know, with fat loss. They want to help people get in shape. They want to help people feel better. And that's what we started doing. And we were very, very good at it. And I realized, actually, we can do this with our eyes shut. Like, it's not me bragging or anything like that, but I know we're very good at what we do. But what happened, what we started to notice, the patterns after, is as people were, you know, getting into incredible shape, as they were value themselves more, they started to make moves. And we were noticing, like, clients coming to us and kind of saying, like, oh, I've applied for a promotion. I felt like maybe it's time. And what we started to realize, there's a real close link between putting yourself at a higher level within yourself, your health, your fitness, and so on, that then kind of flows into life. And that's just not just work, that's relationships. You know, that's like, actually, this doesn't serve me anymore. Like, I value myself more, so I don't want this. Or they become like, it almost elevates their relationships and it makes it better. So it's not just work or anything like that, but I think that's what I love seeing. Like, fat loss is great. It's great. Like, obviously, we all want to be healthy. We want to feel good. We want to look good. But it's what happens, like, beyond that. And everything that happens within that person. Because I went through it. You know, I know what it's like to lose weight. I know what it's like to try and maintain it. I know what it's like to change your behaviours. But it's not nothing to do with that weight loss anymore. It's like everything else that you've gained over the years, and how you carry yourself, how you walk into a room. Because if you're someone who doesn't really believe in themselves and you walk into a room and you're kind of hunched over, realistically, you could have all the experience in the world. You can have all, like everything ticked off for a job. You're not going to get it against someone who might have half of the experience but can walk into that room with their head held high. So shoulders back, ready to nail it, with that attitude that they've got that job. Right? So there's a real thing around, like, that lack of self-belief and confidence. Like I said, you can have all the skill, but if you don't know what to do with that skill or how to showcase it, there's only so much you can do.
No, I love that. And I think it almost boils into, like, a little bit of an identity shift. Because for me, right, a lot of people don't know this. And I think this is why, well, we probably found this out from the last, like, couple of weeks, basically being, like, the gay best friend of all the girls for the whole week. because
gate crashed the girls trip.
basically because so brought up by a single mum, all of my cousins were girls, all of them didn't have any. Well, I've got one boy cousin, but I'd never ever saw him. And because I was so used to kind of being around women and kind of, you know, obviously with my mum and stuff like that, like one thing that I've noticed, and particularly as I stepped into the coaching space, is when I started coaching women, maybe like mid to late 20s into their 30s, 40s, whatever it may be, I found this particularly for women who were maybe very similar to what you said, stuck in their career, a lot of women who had just become like a mum, whatever it may be, that they lose a part of themselves because suddenly, like if I remember having a conversation with Becca about this, you can almost become, I can't remember Becca's daughter's name.
Lily.
You're Lily's mum.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to you're Becca, you're a coach, you're an inspiration, you're a daughter, you're a sister, you're all these different things. You're Lily's mum. And I think that a lot of women have to kind of go through this almost like identity crisis and almost think to themselves like, right, who am I? Where's my place in the world? And then there almost needs to be a conversation of, you know, someone like yourself in this program and kind of working within Thrive to recognize that there's so much more that could be achieved here, but because there's no kind of fostering environment to facilitate that growth, it's just a fucking lonely pathway. And they're stuck on Pain Island. They want to be on Pleasure Island, but they're on Pain Island. Like I say the same thing with business owners. You're stuck on Lonely Entrepreneur Island. There's a reason why I chat so much shit to so many people, and that's because I know what it feels like to be lonely. I know what it feels like to be detached. I know what it feels like to, you know, not really have much of a network. And now I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to put myself out there. If I get rejected, I get rejected. And I think that it takes courage, but also the right support, which is what you're fostering, in order for someone to go from in pain, lonely, suffering, who am I, to, oh my God, there's this community here of women who are doing the exact thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of that.
Yeah. And
that's why your business is growing so well.
Yeah, I think, we generally have women that want to be a part of our community, which I think is epic. And that's not, you know, that's just how our clients like share and that the experience that they have with us, that is like a massive driver. But you are right. It can be quite lonely, not just from like, say, as a business owner. I've been there, hence why one of my biggest things over the last few years is to just connect with as many people within this industry as possible to create a community. Because every time I became part of a community, I leveled up in some way, personally, business-wise, whatever it was. So I know how powerful community is. And I think actually, with, like you mentioned, with, you know, if you become a mum, you suddenly are embracing this new identity, but it's almost like you feel like you need to just have that identity, and you almost start to lose who you are, right?
Yeah.
And I think as well, within this space, like women, they feel like they can't have it all. So if you become a mum, suddenly that's it. You can't then have the career.
Yeah.
You can have it all. You can have it all. There's a reason why, like, there's plenty of women on my team right now that are like super women. They are mums. They've got careers. They're running businesses, like epic. Like it is epic. And I wish more women see that because you can have it all. And I firmly believe you can. So for me, it's like, don't try and put yourself in like a box that you feel like you need to be in, or because society tells you that you need to be there. Just because you're a mum doesn't mean you can't grow your career or start a business. Just because you've got a vibrant career doesn't mean you can't become a mum, right? But I think that also then comes down to sometimes, again, that environment, that corporate environment. You know, women actually sometimes are quite scared to think about having children because, like, what will happen in my career? How will I be supported? Because majority of these businesses are run by male counterparts, and there's a real lack of understanding within that space. You know, I've had women that become pregnant, and one of the biggest fears is going into work and telling their manager.
Wow.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Or when women are ready to go back after maternity leave, they're worried about going back because they feel like they've got this expectation of, you know, being that person they used to be, but actually they are different. They have got different identity and they're trying to make both work. So, but there's no real like support in that space. And I think, again, within the program, we actually do cover that. We cover that going back into work, actually how to manage that. And things like telling, you know, your director, your manager that I am pregnant and I'm going to have to step away for a while and things like that. So there's just so much to it when it comes to that space, which I didn't realize until we evolved this program more and more.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think, and it's such an important program. You know, it's so needed, and like having, I mean, I'm the youngest of all of my cousins, right? So like pretty much my whole family, like all of my cousins, they all have kids, and I'm kind of, you know, turning 30 next year, so I'm getting close to that point whereby for whatever reason you get to that age and you're just like, right, I need to sort my life out.
Why is that though?
It's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, because I when I turned 29, I spent 12 months like freaking out about turning 30.
Yeah.
But then nothing actually changed. In all fairness, things got better. Life got better.
Yeah.
And it's like I spent 12 months worrying about something that actually didn't even happen.
It is really interesting, isn't it? How we put like labels on ourselves.
Yeah.
Whether it be like label as like, right, this is my place in society, or whether it be an age or whatever it may be. You know, when I spoke to Joe yesterday, when I told him my age, he couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to take that as a compliment, because I'm going to take that as, you know, you feel like I'm like whatever it may be. And off air, he turned to me and went, you know what? I've got kids that are older than you.
Yeah.
He's like, the fact that you've brought me on for this podcast is like, props to you. And I was like, oh, it felt quite nice, you know, having that. But I think that realistically, we've all had to grow and evolve at different points in our life for different reasons, you know. Obviously, you've gone for a massive shift recently, like moving your whole life across the other side of the world to Australia.
As you do.
Obviously, I know personally, because, you know, you've got family over there and it's just an incredible place. What would you say drove that decision to make that shift?
Do you know, when I was younger, like I travelled a lot, and I've always been very much like, I just want to see the world. I want to see like how the whole world functions, like all these cultures. I love it. And I went to Australia, and there was just something about it that just stuck with me for so long, and I couldn't shift it. But when I came back to the UK, you know, I was in my 9-to-5 job. I was in the corporate space. Like I was just kind of doing the things that I thought I should be doing, and like, you know, trying to develop my career and trying to get somewhere. And it never happened. Like 6-7 years went by, it never happened. I was just getting older and older, but that itch never went. That was constantly there. And I think last year was actually, my brother moved out there about 7 years ago and built the most incredible life for him, his wife, his daughter and stuff. And I think it's incredible. And then my sister told me last year that she's going to move out there. And I was like, okay, but you're not going without me. I was like, I don't think this is going to happen. Yeah. And I honestly, it didn't even cross my mind that I wasn't going. It didn't. Like, as soon as she told me, I was like, cool. Like, I didn't even react shocked, or like, I was like, oh my God, no, don't do this. I was like, okay, cool. I'll see you there then.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to be able to say that, because I got myself to a position where I could just pick up and go. From all the work that I've done, all the years of building this, I was like, I can do that. Whereas if she told me that 4 or 5 years ago, I'd be like, oh no, I wouldn't. One, I wouldn't even have the confidence to do that and give up my job to do it. And two, I don't think I would have, I don't know, I wouldn't have the guts. And as soon as she told me, I was like, cool, I'll see you there.
Yeah.
See you there. And that's exactly what's happened, and I love it.
That's amazing, mate. And honestly, it looks absolutely. I mean, I've never been myself, but it looks absolutely incredible.
It's a great place.
Yeah, it does. Like when I see like your Instagram stories and stuff like that, it's like just absolute vibes, mate.
Yeah, it's pure vibes.
Yeah,
cool, sexy. No, funny, sexy, cool.
All the time, always.
All the time. It is. Do you know what? I think what I love about that place is the balance between work and what I'm building, and then switching off. And in the UK, I couldn't find that switch off section. I couldn't find it. I was always either on. If I'm off, I couldn't find that balance right. And it was getting to a point where I was just getting really burnt out, and I was constantly just thinking of the next thing. And I think being out in Australia has just given me that time to step back a little bit.
Yeah.
But then things have evolved even more. But then it's because I'm coming from a calm place, a calm state, and I'm taking my time with things, and I'm actually having downtime that I would really struggle with. But that's really cool about having Becca on board, because she'll hold me accountable to that. She's like, you need to have a day off. You need to rest. Why are you even replying to my message? And she'll like bring that up, and I'm like, oh my God, you're so right. I actually do need to switch off. Yeah. So I'm getting a lot better at that. But I think being in that environment and making that move has enabled me to do that.
Yeah. And you know what? It's really interesting you say that, actually, because like conversations I've had since being in Dubai, I feel like there's such this huge expectation and ideology of, okay, you must be striving for success, you must be earning more money, you must be building more things. And I think especially kind of in your kind of field, in your area of expertise, there is always going to be an element of, because a massive part of what you do is leadership, and because a massive part of what you do is pushing other people, you almost feel like this, I don't know if you ever find this, there's almost like this 20-kilo burden on your back, and you can give all these gifts and give all these things to other people and help people out and inspire them and motivate them and check in with them and call with them and all these different things. But then also you have to almost often like recenter yourself and say, yeah, but what about me?
Yeah.
What about Anna?
Yeah, I feel so much pressure.
Yeah.
To show up a certain way, to deliver certain things, to look a certain way. So much pressure.
Yeah.
Like, because like I massively believe in like leading from the front, and I want to create leaders. And in order for me to create leaders, I need to lead, and I need to be the leader that someone will look up to or aspire to be like, right? From a good place, not from a comparison place. But that comes with pressure.
Yeah.
You know, if you're having a down day and you need to show up on your stories and you need to do things, like you've got to just sometimes dust yourself off and do it. And that is why that downtime is so important, because it gives me a chance to like have that breathing room, reflect, like step back and kind of like just look from a different angle rather than constantly in it. But yeah, I have noticed that pressure, real pressure.
You know what? Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you there, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, do you remember before the podcast I said that I wrote something in October of 2022?
Yeah.
That was the first time I came to Dubai, and I wrote this in my phone. I was driving past a billboard, having been to a mentoring event, and I just had this like feeling in my gut, which is... The reason I screenshotted this today, because I knew we were going to talk about this.
Okay.
I knew we were going to talk about leadership, and I knew we were going to talk about pressure, because I feel like...
And that's just come very naturally as well.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
This is not planned.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, because I know how we run our businesses, and I know how your brain works. I know how incredibly similar we are. So I wrote this on October the 22nd, 2022, and it's related to what we just spoke about here. It says, the coaching industry promotes health, but is driven by unhealthiness. I then put, it's driven by a false idealized image of what we see in magazines. Six packs, money, false narratives and fame, not by true health. I want to bring it back to true health. This is why I started Coach's Corner. I want to change the industry that I love. I want to change the narrative and get us back to what coaching really is, changing lives for the better. Now, the reason I brought that up on this podcast is because I know that me and you really want to be leaders. We want to lead our clients. We want to inspire them. We want to motivate them. We want to help them get in shape. We want to help them grow their businesses. You know, you're helping your clients get promotions and, you know, basically just changing the world one person at a time.
Yeah.
But with that comes an unbelievable amount of pressure that we often put on our own shoulders. And what I believe that we need to do, which is really important, and I think that a lot of people will be able to connect with this, especially people who, like, there's a massive element of what you do where you'll help someone with their business or with their career, right? Is destroying what I like to call the shoulding machine.
Okay.
You should do this, you should do that, you should look this way, you should perform that way, you should train like this, you should run your business like this, and actually go to, like, what do you want? What does Anna want? What does George want? And the reason I'm getting so passionate about this is because I really do believe that, and I know that we've spoken about this off camera, that I think that, I know that we both love the industry, but at the same time, just, you know, I do love the industry, but I also think there's a lot of bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of bullshit. And I think it's really fucking easy to get caught up in the bullshit, whether it be drama, whether it be people putting each other down, whether it be, you know, people, you know, their whole marketing strategy being, well, this is shit, do this instead. Don't do that, do this, or whatever else. And I just think that if as human beings, we could get a little bit more back reconnected to what does it mean to be a human being? What does it mean to make progress? What does it mean to, you know, provide good health? Good health, in my eyes, is actually figuring out what do you need today. Yeah. Is it rest? Is it meditation? Is it silence? Is it reflective practice? I messaged Michael last night and sent him a video of, was it Lost Boys? Lost Boys. Outdoor boys. You know, I sent you the picture of it, and it was like, and you were like, "What the fuck are you?" Because I took a picture. You two were out at Asia. I took a picture, and it was a guy just like filling up his mower. You were like, "What the fuck are you watching?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just watching this geezer in Alaska. He's getting ready for winter."
Yes,
you know,
yes.
Yeah. And before, if you'd have asked me being in Dubai like years beforehand, I would have been like constantly like jacked up, like, right, I've got to close more leads and get more clients, and make more sales. Whereas now, the beautiful thing that we're starting to step into is, and I said this to Joe off of camera yesterday, if I'm jumping on a call with someone who could be a potential client, instead of thinking, I really hope they like me, I really want them to join my coach, and I hope they think I'm funny, sexy, and cool, I really want them to become a client, I'm like, do I like this person?
Yeah.
And can I actually help
100%.
them? And I think that the reason that me and you are seeing a lot more fulfillment within our lives and within our businesses is because, from what I can see, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning this on there, from when I started coaching you to now, I've seen you just become a lot more secure, a lot more confident, a lot more self-assured. Like, you know your shit, and you know that you know your shit, and you don't have to scream it in people's faces.
No.
You know? That was a big fucking monologue, but does that make sense?
That makes total sense, yeah.
But this is what I mean. I think it's so easy to get caught up in more money, more fame, more celebrity, more this, more this, more this.
6 packs, be lean, do this,
You know?
look this way. Like, and the thing is, there was a point in me running my business that I was caught up in that. And I would be, I'd make more money, miserable, wasn't fulfilled, didn't work with people I wanted to work with. And that didn't serve me. It's a funny one, but I think that's probably why I feel so secure now, because what I am doing is so fulfilling.
Yeah.
Every day I wake up, and every day, like, the stuff that we do as a community, the stuff that it's been epic to give Becca the space to be an absolutely brilliant coach. What a woman that, like, honestly, I can't tell you. And it's been an absolute godsend, and actually being able to be in that position to give that space to someone as a coach has been incredible. The stuff that we're achieving, like, I will get messages on a weekly basis of people going, I've just applied for this job, I've quit my job, I've done this. We had a client literally 2-3 weeks into the program, realizing how much more worthy she was and how much more she can actually do with her career. She just quit her job. She just quit her job. She was like, it doesn't serve me, I'm miserable, and if I'm working on myself with you right now, that's going to hold me back, so I need to change that now. Loved it. What an action taker.
Yeah.
8 weeks later, 2 offers, 10, 15k pay rise, and she's about to have the best start to 2025 ever, right? 2 months. That's taken 2 months of just going, let me hold myself to a higher standard. Let me stop making excuses.
Totally. And no before and after picture can ever articulate that.
No.
Ever.
No.
And I think this is the thing that makes a real impact. It's the stories that we can help kind of form, I remember being at a mindset event a few years ago, and it was very similar to what you mentioned there in terms of this kind of big shift. And we were asked to close our eyes. It was beautiful, actually. It was absolutely beautiful. We were asked to close our eyes. They dimmed the light, actually the same colour as this, funny enough. That's probably why I can think about it. And they played like a crackling fire like sound effect.
Okay.
And so everyone in the room had their eyes closed, and it was like a guided meditation, and it was like, right, we want you to jump ahead kind of 40 to 50 years. You've just retired. What does your home look like? Where are you sat? What does your chair feel like? What clothes you wearing? Who you married to? Do you have children? Like all these different things. I'm like really
visualizing
like
it.
really going deep into it. And it was like, okay, now stood around you are your proudest achievements.
Okay.
Who stood around you? And all I could visualize is like this huge, just like army of clients that I'd formed like relationships with the entire time. That like they all know each other, and they're laughing and having a joke and be like, do you remember this time when we spoke about this? And do you remember that time that we did that? And all these different things. And I remember opening my eyes after that. I mean, I've got goosebumps even thinking about it. I remember opening my eyes about this and was like, yeah, this is what Coach Corner is about. This is what my business is about. This is all about impact, because there's 2 types of motivators. You can be money driven, you can be impact driven, right? Elon Musk is impact driven. He's the richest man in the world. He wants to take people to the moon. He doesn't care about money, but he's also the wealthiest man in the world.
Yeah. And
there's nothing wrong with being money driven, but I think the question to ask ourselves when we look at money as what it is, especially on Instagram, you kind of see people hitting PB months and stuff. As long as I can articulate what that money gives me, great. A great example, I said this to one of our staff members not too long ago. We were kind of like assessing the year, and we hit a month in June, which is like 12 grand more than where we're currently at, right? And it was like, okay, that's great. And then we looked at that month, and then we looked at this month, and it's like, you know what? The business is actually in a better position this month because clients are happier, staff is happier, we're more rested, we're more well-rounded as a business, the offer's more, like everything was just better. And I think now it's quite nice to be able to kind of move forward with that. And, your client who left her job and was like, it's not serving me, that for her was a vision that you'd instilled in her that allowed her to be like, nah, I'm worth more than this. And that that's what it's really about.
Yeah. I still, like, I'll sit here and go, bloody hell, I am having, like, the impact that we're having it's wild. Like, I still sit there to this day and I'll still get those messages and I'll be like, oh my God, we're doing this. We're like, I'm in this, I'm doing this. And if I look back, like, 5-6 years ago, who I was then, I'd never ever, like, even at that point visualised this kind of life ever. I was too scared to visualise the life that I actually wanted, because I was like, well, is it really going to happen? Is it really going to happen? But in actual fact, yeah, it would, because I was always willing to put the work in. And did I get lost along the way? Of course I did. Did I chase the wrong things? Of course I did. But ultimately, like, it always came back down to what I actually really wanted out of this. And that is generally impact. But it's really cool to be part of, we're impacting women that are then going into companies and actually helping companies grow. So now I'm impacting other businesses. It's great.
Love that.
We've got like clients that work in sales. I worked in sales for 12 years. What an industry to work in, what a sector to work in. We've got clients hitting targets left, right and centre. Their bosses are loving them. And I'm like, maybe I'll start invoicing you, I think. I'll just, let's do some work together, because it's great. But then it's like that impact gets bigger and bigger, right? You for example, with Coach's Corner, right? You impact the coaches that then impact their clients. So your impact has suddenly like skyrocketed, and it's just like a wide, it's like filling up a football stadium, right? You're kind of like, you impact the football team impacts the audience. Like, it's that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I just spoke about football, because I don't even watch football. So I don't even know where that came from, but we move. But it's that impact. And nothing is more fulfilling than that. Nothing.
Yeah.
And I could make more money, less money. But if I can wake up every day knowing that I'm part of something really fucking cool, I'll be happy.
Yeah. It's creating a movement, creating a cause and a movement that you feel deeply passionate about.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that drives you ultimately,
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a question, actually, just to revert back to something that you said a couple of minutes ago, about kind of like fear and change.
Yeah.
What keeps you up at night?
Oh, okay. We're getting deep. Keeps me up at night. Like, what if it all just goes? What if I wake up and suddenly I don't have what I've built? Women don't want to work with us. What if, I think that will keep me up at night in a less and less now than it did, but it still does. Yeah.
That makes sense. I think that a lot of to be fair, I hear a lot of coaches say that is obviously, as you're building this pyramid, as you're building this tower, it can feel subconsciously like you're building like a deck of cards. You think, oh shit, if I put one more on, is everything going to come crumbling down? Yeah. And I think that what's important to kind of recognise is the skills you've acquired and the person you've become along the way, to realise that if it did all come crumbling down and all your clients did leave, to be like, you got that kind of reassurance in yourself to be like, well, I can build it back up again. Yeah. I've done it before, I can do it again, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it goes back to the pressure. I think it's the pressure of delivering, the pressure of helping that someone that has come to you, that putting their trust in you to help them with, probably something that they've struggled with for a long, long time. Like, most people that I speak to have been struggling for a long, long time. And sometimes it's that pressure. Can we really help this person? Can we? And then we want to deliver the best service possible. Yeah. Are we doing enough? So these are all things I'm always asking, like myself. I have catch-up calls with Becca every week, and always like, right, are we doing this? Are we doing enough? What else do we need to be doing? I think so. Pressure, it's definitely something that will definitely keep me up at night.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Do you find yourself often trying to rescue your clients?
Yes, there has been times. I want to, yes. Okay. And it's very hard to kind of stop myself sometimes and let them kind of figure it out and actually find that answer within themselves, because I just want to help. I want to make them feel better. I want them to, do this, succeed in that, because I know the feeling when you get to that point, and I think I get very, very invested. I get so invested in my clients. Like, I think as coaches, we all do, right? There's a reason why we get into this. If you get into it for the right reasons, like, you get so invested. And I think sometimes that passion for it actually just pushes me to, like, almost rescue them all the time, hold their hands all the time and not giving them that space to really like figure that out.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I completely understand that. And you know what I was going to say actually is just from like coaching, the amount of coaches that we've coached now, because that was a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, coaches now.
No. And the coaches. Yeah, what I was going to say is...
coaches? Didn't realise.
You would never have guessed. Coaches Corner and all that jazz. We actually work in a incubation centre for Kinder eggs. That's like our kind of side niche, but that's a whole other story for another time.
Okay.
Anyway, so what I often find is that a lot of coaches who put their niche and put their avatar in their bio, when you talk to them, that's actually them just talking about themselves.
Yeah.
So a great example of that, I see a lot of coaches who put, we help you build confidence. They're not confident.
No.
They want confidence. And they're like, I want to help you become confident because I want me to become confident, you know? So you mentioned there about feeling like you've got a lot of pressure. Your clients feel like they've got a lot of pressure in work. You said there about like trying to rescue your clients. Obviously, your clients feel like they're trying to rescue others, whether it be like in the workforce or whatever. Do you think the reason that that's the case is because at some point in your life, before you turned 30, when you had that big transition, that you felt like you needed rescuing yourself?
Yeah.
What did you need rescuing from?
It was just... you know, like when you just feel miserable. You can't put your finger on it, why? But it was one of those things where like you'd wake up every day, you'd go about your day, you finish the day, you go to bed, you wake up again. And it just felt like just a very grey time. And I think it was because I just didn't know where I was heading, where I fit in. Like I felt very, very lost. And at the time, I wish I had what I've built now. You know, I wish there was like a community of women that are in the same boat that I could talk to, that I could like speak about how I'm feeling that day, or, you know, which like there was nothing like that. Nothing. And I had like, there was this really horrible experience at work where I was a part of this business, and I mean, it was a very badly run business, I will say that. But I had this real horrible experience that like completely knocked me. It knocked my confidence. It knocked me as a person to the point where I was like, I will never step foot in an office again. I will never step foot in a recruitment role again. Like it literally just, it knocked me fully. Like I questioned myself so much, and I was like, nah, I will never do this again. I'll never put myself in that position. And then I thought, I can't let them win. Like, I can't do that. And I'm like, I can't give up here. So then my next move was like, I'm going to do something a bit different here. Like, I know who I want to be, and I know who that person is and what that person behaves like and how that person acts and how they show up. I just need to do it. I just need to wake up and go, right, I'm going to be that person today, and I'm just going to go. And that's what I did. And I ended up securing a new job, and I loved it. And everything about it was like, it was so much fun. I just turned up. Even on the days I didn't feel like that person, I still behaved like that person. And it just kind of, it sort of spiraled out of there really. And then that's when I realised actually I had more to give. I had so much more. And that's where this came about. And I thought, there's just so much more. And I think I built that confidence in myself because I just believed it so much at that point, and I just went. And I think that's when I started visualising. Where am I going? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And I had this image in my head where I was just a girl with a laptop, and I could be anywhere in the world, and I'll be doing something really cool, really great. And now I am a girl with a laptop anywhere in the world, doing something really cool, really great. Yeah. And that's pretty cool. Like, that's a really cool feeling. Like, I don't know about you, but do you know, we sometimes forget actually the life that you're like living right now is a life that you one point like dreamt of, imagined, visualized, whatever it is. But because we get so caught up in like, what's the next thing? We forget that we're living it right now.
Yeah.
And I do that all the time. And I'm like, whoa, stop for a minute. Like, you're living that life right now. It's really cool. We're sat in a podcast studio in Dubai. You know, we've just had the greatest trip ever.
Yeah.
We're living that life. But then we're like, what's next? And I'm like, no, stop it. Be present.
Totally.
Be in this moment right now.
No, I completely agree with that. And I think that's fucking incredible. And I think that ultimately, like, what we have to kind of recognize there is that those inflection points in your life where you were treated really fucking shit, and I could see that obviously it affects you, and I can relate to that massively in a previous job. I was treated so badly, and it's amazing that you've been able to take a very negative, a very shitty situation and kind of turn that out into something positive.
Yeah,
it takes a certain type of person to be able to do that, if I'm being honest. And I think, you know, what you said there about there was something that you mentioned about like living in the future a lot and almost like forgetting all of these cool things that are going on. I just, again, complete transparency, I work on a lot of things that aren't anything to do with coaching or business that a lot of people don't know about. So I've never told anyone this. Been working with like a relationship coach for a while, just to understand relationships a little bit better. Because for me, I think because I lacked a massive relationship in my life with my dad, I always had a bit of a warped kind of concept of, okay, well, what are a man and a woman supposed to do in a relationship? Because I've never fucking seen it. I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
And what I thought I needed was actually what I needed from someone else, is what I needed for myself. I thought that my love language was quality time, and that it was spending time with somebody else, and, you know, getting to know somebody else, and, you know, just like having that kind of banter and stuff like that. But what I didn't realize is that I thought that my love language was quality time with someone else. Actually, my love language was quality time with myself.
Oh yeah.
And you know, you said to me the other week, you're like, I don't think I've ever seen you this happy before.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. I've spent 3 weeks by myself.
Yeah.
Week 1, oh my God, I'm going to feel like shit. After 48 hours, I'm like, oh,
I'm actually okay.
I actually like myself, you know? And I know that sounds fucking ridiculous, but I thought I hated myself. Genuinely, I thought I hated myself. And like, I spend a bit of time and, you know, doing some work and popping to gym and going for runs, and it's like every day it's almost like another brick's been put on. I'm like, oh shit, I am building my confidence. I'm feeling funny, sexy and cool. I'm like, you know, do you know what I mean? Like stepping into that energy.
Yeah.
And then by the time we got to Defected, I know it'd only been like a week, but I was just, I felt fucking great.
Yeah.
And it was because I allowed myself that time and that space to be like, actually, who is George and what does George want?
Yeah.
And that's why I asked you at the start of the podcast about like, who's Anna?
Yeah.
Because it's so fucking easy to say, I'm a coach.
Yeah.
I am this. I'm a leader. I'm a manager, you know? But
there's always a title, isn't it? Like you're this, you're that, you're a mum, you're, like you said. And sometimes you just want to like not have a title and be totally fine. And you are right that spending time on your own is one of the most powerful like skills you can develop as a person, because as people, obviously, yes, we crave connection, but equally we also crave like validation from others, right? Tell me I'm great, you know, like tell me this, like validate me, tell me my work's great, you know, work appraisals, you want to hear all this good stuff. But actually find that within yourself, and it starts with like being able to spend time on your own and being on your own. I love my own company.
yeah.
I love spending time on my own. I love it. I think it's great. It's very empowering. And I think actually you have to start with that, because if you don't like your own company, how are other people going to like your company?
Exactly.
And I'm also telling people to like put time in themselves, you know, like invest in yourself, do all this stuff. But if I can't like have that time on my own, how can I expect others to? But it's really powerful. It's really, really powerful. And I love it. I think like more people need to spend time on their own. They need to figure out who they are, what they actually like, what they dislike, you know, and actually be able to say no to things that don't serve them. Say yes to things that they really want to do, regardless of how scary it is. Just go and do it.
Yeah.
Because you will literally sometimes wake up and there might not be a tomorrow. There might not be a next week. Just go and do it.
Yeah.
Go and do it. Like, want to climb a mountain? Go for it. Want to jump out of a plane? Go for it. Like, it's scary, but it's also really exciting. People think that fear and like being scared of something is like a negative thing, but actually it's exciting. It should scare you. It should be something different.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? This actually comes back full circle to how you opened the podcast. You were like, oh, I'm just Anna, you know, I'm just a girl.
I'm just a girl.
Just a regular person. It's funny.
Just a girl with a laptop.
I'm just a girl.
I'm a real boy.
Mate, don't. My nose is already big enough. I don't need it to fucking grow anymore. I don't need it to grow anymore. Nah, I'm just looking at time. We'll start wrapping this up, I think. But there was something that I wanted to mention there that I think is really important and impactful, and that's the fact that for a long period of time, I think and I certainly did this, particularly the start of this year, is I had a bit of an identity crisis, because I was going from being an online coach to like more of a mentor. And if someone said like, "What do you do?" like playing golf, I'd be like, and I have to like pick a title. I'm like, am I a business coach? Am I a mentor? Am I a physique coach? I'm like, I coach people.
I don't know who I am.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, who am I? And I started to realise, I'm like, motherfucker, the reason I'm having an identity crisis is because I thought that I was nouns, but I'm actually adjectives and verbs.
Okay.
You know, like I'm someone who's passionate about what they do. I love helping people. I am a leader. I am the CEO of my business. I am a son. I'm a brother. I'm a mate. Do you know what I mean? And it's funny because although I didn't really have a relationship with my dad when I was younger, he was still like around and I'd occasionally see him. And he'd always do this thing and he'd like tease me with it and he'd go, "Are you crazy?" And I go, "No." And he'd be like, "Are you mad?" I'd be like, "No." And then he'd keep saying all these different words and I'd always come back and say, "No, I'm just George."
Yeah.
And that actually was my Facebook name and my Twitter name. And at first it was my Instagram name. It was Just George.
Just George.
Yeah, because whenever someone's asked me like about me and all these kind of things, I'm like, I don't. If I can just, and this is what this year's theme has been about for me, you know.
Yeah.
You know, when businesses have like a theme, we're growing this year, or we're changing things this year, or we're pivoting this year. This year, I'm just George.
Yeah.
I just want to find myself again, you know.
But you can tell that with everything you put out there, like everything is very like authentic and very like you're very unapologetically yourself. However weird. However, like whatever you do, like you kind of don't stick to like the mold within the space that you're currently in, right? Because everyone wants to live up to this thing, like, and you know, it is one of those things. But you're just like, no, I'm just going to be George. But you can tell that from a mile away, and I think that's really cool. And I think that's why, one, you're very successful at what you do, and why people buy into you, because they want to be like. They just want realistic, like everything is just so hyped up, isn't it? Like get the next best watch, you know, have a fucking supercar, like. But most people like that are miserable. Are miserable. But what the thing about you is it's just very real, like sometimes very weird, but in the best possible way. But like you don't care because you're like, well, actually, I'm just going to showcase who I am, and that's why you speak so openly on podcasts and you sharing everything. And you're like, actually, I'm just going to be an open book. And then see where that takes me. And I love that because generally up until like maybe a year ago, I wouldn't open up. There's loads of things that people don't know about me. But I'm getting better at it because I'm seeing people like you do things like that. And you're like, actually, that's not a bad thing. Yeah. Being a bit vulnerable is not a bad thing, you know? Whereas I used to think it was. Also, middle child syndrome. So I'm like, I just got to get on with it and not showcase that I'm, you know, feeling a bit vulnerable or feeling a bit sad or feeling a bit like this. Anyone that's a middle child will understand what I mean by that. You get like the golden boy, and you get like the baby, and then you just get me.
Yeah, I get that.
In a Polish household as well, by the way, just to top it off.
No, I get that completely. I talk to my aunts a fair bit, and you know, there's obviously three. Well, my mum was one of five. So you've got three middle kids.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they can relate massively to what you said there.
Yeah.
Massively. But I really appreciate you saying that. And I think, like, ultimately, to kind of go back to what you said there, one thing that I'd like to pass on as a piece of advice as like business owners and coaches, you should actively try to destroy the shoulding machine. There's always going to be ideologies of who you should be and what you should do and how much money you should be earning and how many clients you should have and how you should run your business and how you should fucking act and
what to post, what this, what that. Like,
yeah. Just
it's boring.
Yeah, it is boring.
It's boring.
It's
like,
boring.
I had to put it in there. Boring.
Here's how to drink more water.
Like,
no one fucking cares.
It is so boring. Like, and you're finding it is. You're seeing it every single day. Like people posting these things, and they're posting what they feel like they should be posting versus what they want to actually post and say. Yeah. Say what you want to say. Just do it.
Yeah.
Because the people that don't take it in or don't like what you say, they're not your clients.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about them. They're not paying your bills. Just carry on, but just say what you say. And I promise you this, like this is coming from someone who would post what they thought they should post versus actually just do what I want to do, run the business I want to run, work the way I want to work, post what I want to post. It's so much more fun.
Yeah.
You attract people you really want to work with. You actually end up doing better without realizing. Like everything starts to align more because you're not like... You're not pretending to be someone because it's draining. How many times can you how long can you be somebody else? Yeah. It gets draining. You almost forget. You then forget who you are, and you get lost in all that stuff. And just say what you want to say, like however controversial, whatever. Go for it. I love it. It's content like that. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it because I love it, and that's why I like watch your content because you just say it, you go for it, you just do what you want to do, and then you attract people like that. Yeah. Simple.
So true.
That's my bit of advice for coaches.
No, I love it. I love it. And I think in today's day and age, there's so much more like ManyChat, AI, automation. We're craving human interaction We really are.
Yeah.
You know, that's why, you know, sometimes I'll put up like a random clip that'll be like 3 minutes long, and I know the algorithm's going to tank it, but I'm like, I don't care. People who want to see this are going to watch it.
They're going to connect. That's why we run events. That's why we try and get, you know, that in-person connection is so important. Like, I don't want to be just, obviously I did say I'm just a girl with a laptop. I don't want to just be stuck behind my laptop. I want to be in front of people. I want to talk to people. I want to connect, and I want my clients to connect, and I want, like, everyone to just have that space. I think it's having a space that you feel like you belong. And it's a space that, like, again, it's probably something I craved in the past.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to find that space, I created it. And that's the difference.
And I think that's true confidence, is putting yourself out there with the kind of idea of the fact that, okay, well, if you don't like me, you don't connect with me, that's fine.
Cool. It's an issue, not an ish me. That's another one we had to throw in there. It's the best thing I've heard all year,
that's
honestly.
An issue, not an ish me.
I have to pass it on because it was great. It was amazing. And I have to give credit to Megan, and I'll throw it out there in case she does see this. Because she said it and I was like, oh my God, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because it's so true.
It's a great line AF.
It's a great line, yeah. It's the best, honestly, and it's so true. And actually, obviously, it's a funny thing to say, but equally, actually, if you think about the deeper meaning of that, it's a you problem, not a me.
Yeah.
Like, simple. Someone doesn't want to be around me, cool.
Love it.
Someone does, great. Let's go. Like, let's have the best time. That's where I know I'm, like, really content and confident in who I am today. That's generally it, because I will spend time with people I want to spend time with, not people I need to or have to.
Why are you sat across the table from me then?
I know. It's not even paying me for this.
Fucking hell.
No. It's because we're on that, you know, funny, sexy, cool.
Funny, sexy, cool
AF
vibe.
AMF, let's throw that in there.
Yeah.
I think AMF is better than AF.
AMF. Okay. All right. Yeah. Promotion's like, just a little paid ad in the middle of the podcast there.
Can I ask, actually, what keeps you up at night?
How long have you got? Fucking hell.
Something that will just come into your mind right this moment. Don't, like...
Or when I'm about to go to sleep and it just interrupts my sleep.
Yeah.
Disappointing people.
Okay.
Letting people down. Because I feel like I've done that in the past.
Yeah.
I feel like I've let people down. I feel like you know what it is, and this is something I'm trying to break away from. I've been working this for a long time, and I'm getting far better. But I lived my life for as long as I can remember saying to myself, I have to be a role model. I have to lead by example. I have to be a leader. I have to be the shining light in someone's darkness, and I have to take on their problems. And what I ended up doing was I put my sole purpose and mission into others.
Okay.
And because I did that, I lost myself completely.
Yeah.
I completely fucking lost myself. And actually what I ended up doing is I operated a lot of my life and a lot of my day out of insecurity and ego. I'd have a lot of ego in the gym. No one knows this. When my training's going really well, the reason I love working with Christian is because I remind him to rein me in.
Okay.
Because if my training's going really well and things are flying and things are going good, it's a weird... I remember, this is why I like Mike Tyson. I remember Mike Tyson talking about this in the podcast, and he's the only person I can relate to on this. He would say that, like, if his training's going well and he's eating well and he's getting lean and he's feeling good, when he's in the gym, his ego becomes too much and he starts hurting himself.
Okay.
It's the same thing. And it stems from the reason I got into the gym. And it was because, complete transparency, I got into the gym is because I wanted to be strong enough that when my dad was doing what he was doing, that I could fight back. That's why I started training.
Yeah.
So for me, there's this kind of thing that I'm trying to detach from, so that training's no longer about fighting back and training's actually about looking after myself. Yeah. Training from a place of self-appreciation, not self-deprecation. So for me, it actually helps me training with other people, not getting too intense and not going too over the top. And that's why when I started, when I went down the bodybuilding route in 2019, I ended up 6 injuries and tore 6 things in 2 months because it was just too heavy. So I feel like from going from the insecure, egotistical, over-the-top kid that I was then, that transition from now, obviously anyone who's kind of been through a healing process, it doesn't go like that. No. It fucking fluctuates like crazy. And I think at the start of this year, I had a big lull that I didn't realise was a lull. Yeah. But it was because I was spending too much time looking at the wrong things, surrounding myself with the wrong people and wrong energy. And it just really was like a very... I don't even like this word, but I'd almost like put myself mentally in like quite a toxic place, almost like I'm trying to prove myself. So I feel like the things that keep me up at night is the idea that I could let somebody down. And what I now realise, which is a beautiful place I'm coming into, and I would go as far to say, if I'm exhausted, bing, there we are again.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I need to work at this a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if I'm in good health, I'm looking after my sleep, I'm looking after just myself as a whole, it's the idea of, no, George, you're not letting anybody down, you're not disappointing anybody. The only person that you need to provide for, the only person you need to look after for is you. And if you look after you, and if you look after your happiness and your fulfillment and just yourself as a person, that then means that you can be that great person you want to be for everybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what keeps me up at night.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I could go deeper than that, but I'm conscious of the time. Every podcast I've been on, I get to the end and I'm like, fuck, that's an hour.
We're getting deep. To be fair, I did say to you, please don't make me cry. So it's fine. We haven't cried, which is great.
Yeah, we haven't cried, which is
We haven't cried.
Fantastic.
We could go deep.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I think like you are right though. When you put yourself at that focus of like working on you, like really just looking after yourself in every way, and I don't just mean fitness, training, all that jazz. I actually mean like mentally making sure that your headspace is clear, that you're content, like you know, you've got that space for yourself. Everything follows, and then everything aligns. It's that energy thing, right? The energy you put out is the energy you get back. And I listened to a talk recently, and I was mesmerized by it. And it's like, we have to, what did I get from it? We have to raise our energies. You can't just go through life and be like, you know, like plodding away, like raise those standards. Because if you raise your standards, people around you raise theirs.
Yeah.
If you walk into a room, people know you're not there to mess about. And I love that. Like it really stuck with me. And I was like, I'm about to raise my standards and I'm not going to stop. Because if I raise my standards, my clients raise their standards, and then the people that they are surrounded by raise their standards. And before you know it, like you said, it's like a domino effect of impact upon impact upon impact.
Totally.
But it all starts here from me. And I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. And I love it. And that's why I love going to like events and like listening to people, having conversations, because you get to like learn so much. I love it. I love it. And I love being in a room where I'm okay being like the dumbest person in a room. Whereas most people are scared about that. See, I love it. I like being in a room with people that are more successful than me. Because I can see what's possible. Rather than, I'm not there. Like, no, I can see what's possible.
Yeah.
And I love that. And that's where I'm at now, and I love it.
That's incredible. Just being able to kind of stretch yourself and kind of stretch that vision, stretch your mind. You know, it's neuroplasticity, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, there's certain that your brain's wired a particular way, and when you have conversations, when you're around different people that challenge you intellectually, you know, there's someone I can think of that I'm not going to name on camera that's been challenging me intellectually, and I'm like, this is so fucking engaging. I'm enjoying this conversation so much. Wow, incredible. Yeah. Fucking hell, this is great. And it's the only reason that we're able to get there as human beings is that we've allowed ourselves to be vulnerable and step into that space and be like, fuck it, let's just see what happens here. Yeah. And I think that's why we love coaching, because we're able to provide that for other people. Yeah. So, it's a good time. Is it a great time? I'm having a great time. Right. I love that. Talking about having a great time. I don't want to get like kicked out of this room or like arrested for stealing someone else's thing.
Nobody wants to get arrested in Dubai.
No one wants to get arrested in Dubai. Right. Anna, mate, thanks so much for coming on. That was class. Really enjoyed that. For anyone who doesn't follow you on socials or know where you live on the old internet. Yeah. Where am I? Where are you?
What am I? What is my handle? Anna.maria.fitness. That's where you find me. And if you want some funny, sexy, cool content, come and follow, because
you know where to find you.
Yeah. We don't follow no molds. We just do what we want to do and say what we want to say.
Love it.
I love it.
Well, guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Hope you enjoyed this one. I never say this, what we'd really appreciate, if you're enjoying these podcasts, if you could whack it in a story and drop myself and Anna a tag, we'd hugely appreciate that. At the end of the day, we want to continue being funny, sexy and cool, all of the time, always. So help us to help you provide some content.
We might get some t-shirts if we get like a decent, you know.
If we get a decent amount of people who like this and share
we'll get t-shirts.
We'll get some t-shirts AF, and it'll be like a podcast t-shirt just to remind us all. We'll look at each other and be like, ooh.
Yeah, we've got it. Funny, sexy, cool.
Exactly.
That's where we end it, right? Is this the mic drop moment?
This is the mic drop. Yeah. Done. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening again. Thank you, Anna. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.